Hello, folks. Welcome to another scene in Darkness in Dublin. This evening, we've got a scene with Christina Spanos and Finley Weiss, who have quite hurriedly arranged a rendezvous within a certain tree. And presumably, Finley arrives there first, but no guarantee of that since he has to make sure a certain someone's occupied before he leaves. So if Christina wants to say she got there first, totally reasonable.
Yeah. We'll say that she got there first and she's just kind of sitting by the entrance. She's reading a book, waiting for Finley. I'm sure Archimedes is commenting on whatever it is she's reading.
No, it's more so he gets frustrated because he reads faster than you do and then waits for you to turn the page.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Finley's going to walk in, or, out of the tree, etc., into Care. I can never pronounce the last name. Evan hates me.
Calhaya.
Calhaya. There we go. He steps out there. He looks frazzled. And he looks over at Christina. He's just looking around. He's like, yeah. He looks at your owl, and it's like he's seeing the owl in a completely different light. It's like, hey there.
Hello. Looking all right.
Lindsay, you are like so hilariously crackly. Oh, the crackly.
Okay.
Generally refreshing hangouts makes it better.
Yes, it does so with me too.
Okay, how about
Much
now?
better.
Yields.
So
Archimedes will look up as he's apparently being looked at by the by Finley, and he'll say, "Mistress, is he going to attempt to eat me?"
No, I don't think so, but he is looking quite peculiar, isn't he?
well, I think you'll have the same expression once I finish telling you.
All right.
Okay,
All
so
right. Shall we go in?
no, I assumed they already were there. I assume.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I described him as having arrived on the other side.
Yeah, she's right in. Yeah, she is right in on.
Okay. So
Never mind.
this entire conversation is taking place on the other side. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
He just kind of looks and goes, "Okay, so I had this dream a while back." And he goes on to describe the dream where there's a burning ship, a guy standing by the shoreline, holding a filigree golden sword. Yeah, he starts explaining it, and I'm assuming your character just cuts him off.
She's
essentially.
nodding. And it's like, yes, I had the same one.
Well, I figured out my questions for the warden, and yeah, one of them was going to be asking him about that dream, and I was going to ask him how what his advice would be for making a sanctum, and then finally, how does one try to combat the influence of the Nefandi? Didn't find him though. I came here, looked around, kept looking, found myself on a white stone pathway. Didn't know there were man-made things here.
There's not supposed to be.
It makes sense, though. I followed it, came across a second. Sorry.
She's got her brow furrowed, looking at Finley like he's nuts.
Came across a small Roman chapel. He's looking at Archimedes to see if there's any reaction to all of this.
Archimedes he's still reading the book. He occasionally taps Christina to turn the page.
Okay.
She'll absentmindedly turn the page.
So I find this chapel. It's nice, not that big. It's kind of cozy. It's got a lot of stained glass windows. I'm thinking maybe this is the warden's exception to the rule and he lives here or something. Because, I mean, I don't know, but it's a chapel, not a house. And I don't sense anyone inside. So I head inside after calling his name a couple times. In fact, I'd take you to it, but, I don't know if we should do that. Out of character, Evan probably does not want to deal with that shit right now, so I'll just...
Want to deal with what, sorry?
I'm saying Evan probably does not want to deal with us going to the chapel and me showing her around and shit. Let's not deal with that properly.
You'd have to find it again.
Oh yeah, and without our guide, that probably wouldn't happen.
Oh, no, bear in mind, the chapel, as they explained it to you, is only found when it needs to be found.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it doesn't need to be found right now. Shit. Okay. Well, and he'll keep explaining. He'll say, well, okay, so I go in. There's a whole bunch of stained glass windows. 6 on the left, 6 on the right, and 1 all the way in the back. The ones on either side show people. All guys, different clothing, different appearances, and heraldry. In the back, there's a bigger one that showed... Oh, and the door had a depiction of a man kneeling and being crowned. Along the back, you've got that same man with the crown in the center. And then on one side, he's got a certain robed and hooded figure who you might find familiar. And on the other side...
Can't imagine who that could be.
And on the other side, there's blank space. So I go in, and I also notice, after I notice all these beautiful windows, there's a large stone font, like a fountain type thing, in the middle of the room. Kind of elevated. There's some steps going up to it. It's almost like a shrine. And there's these 3 female stone statues, which are pouring vases of water into the font, which surrounds... the water surrounds a small raised portion of the font, so you'd have to reach over the water to get to it. And in the center is that sword. So I did a little looking around, started using different senses, mind, spirit, prime, entropy, time, whatever the hell I could come up with. First things first, that sword's obviously magic. That goes without saying. But I haven't seen potent magic like that other than the Warden. Like, that is one of the most... And if you think the sword's powerful, whatever the crap enchantment is put into the water puts it to shame, in my opinion. It's so complicated.
She blinks. Like,
all I know is... and I don't even know this, I'm guessing based on the little bits I could understand, there's a ton of energy built into it, and if you trip it the wrong way, you're gone. Like, not just gone temporally, too.
She nods, and she has an idea of where this might be going.
So yeah, and then I noticed the sword's sentient. Kinda. And then I notice that there are spirits in all the stained glass windows along the sides, notably not along the ones in the back. The king doesn't have one, the hooded figure doesn't have one, and the absent space doesn't have one. But all the others have spirits. I start talking to them.
Oh no.
Oh no, everything's okay. Apparently I was meant to find the place. Willing to bet you were too, if you had that dream, but...
Alas, I was not with you.
Well, from the sound of it, we might wind up going back there at some point. Because, okay, so I'm an idiot, and it took them a good while to explain it to me without giving it away, because they're not allowed to tell me. Same way the warden's not allowed to, or I don't know if he's not allowed to, or if he's just not supposed to. I don't get it. Point is...
Wait, so you didn't get it right away on what it is there?
I always thought that Excalibur would be like a giant broadsword or something.
Oh, she rubs her temples and pats him on the head.
In any case, I kind of picked up on it when they were saying, when they addressed one of the 12 as K. I remember that much from the legends, but I wasn't sure where I factored in. Like, I get the whole there's a legend around me. I don't get what I'm doing there. But from Entropy and Time, it seems like I was supposed to arrive. Then a piece of the sword, like its spiritual piece, kind of touches me and kind of sort of bonded with me or something. I don't get it. Way past my pay grade, as I said. Then I mean, I talked to them for a while, found out who's who, what's what. I mean, if you haven't picked up on it, it took me a little while. If the king is Arthur, the robed guy is...
She nods.
He looks over at the owl again, like...
Once again, there's a casual tap on the shoulder to turn the page.
Yeah, she turns the page and she looks at Archimedes and shakes her head. Like, God damn it.
That was kind of my reaction. So, yeah. I haven't found the warden, and I'm going to keep calling him that so I don't accidentally call him something else elsewhere.
No, you shouldn't, because you're not allowed to do that. She nods.
Exactly. Hell, I'm not even I'm not supposed to mention him at all.
That would be bad.
Place. So, yeah. But anyways,
No, and we don't speak of this outside of here.
Obviously, that's why I said we had to talk here.
A good idea. You were smart. And she'll squeeze his shoulder like, "Yay, you did it good."
Now here's the thing, because it gets worse.
You are not completely incompetent, though.
It gets worse.
Oh no.
Because you see, I was kind of thinking, really, I was just supposed to come here and see it? Like, that seems a bit anticlimactic. But I mean, the knights seemed okay with it. They're like, yeah, I mean, we've never seen this happen before, but you're supposed to do this, I guess. You're supposed to come here and see this. But even they didn't seem to know what exactly was happening next. I was about to leave. And then the three statues looked at me, opened their eyes, and started talking, all in unison. Apparently they're the three fates, or a representation of them. Really wish I knew more about my Norse history, for one thing, but I'll research that later. In any case, they spat out a prophecy. And OC, I don't know if it got posted. I don't know if it's on my sheet yet because I can't.
I haven't gotten a chance to write it out yet.
The summary was. Sorry. The summary was basically, if I'm understanding it correctly, I'm supposed to find Arthur at some point. And at some point, he's going to go back there and claim the sword.
Hang on. Can you repeat that?
No, you heard me right.
She nods.
Again, I kind of had the same reaction. You know that old phrase, "May you be born in interesting times." It could be rephrased as, "May you feature prominently in a prophecy."
Well, I suppose as Verbena, we run the risk of participating in various prophecies at one time or another.
I mean, it's not like we have a exclusive on them, but yeah, okay.
She shrugs, like, comes to the territory, whatever.
The knights were kind of floored by all this, by the way.
I can imagine, yes.
They, by the way, have not seen Arthur since, they got there, which I presume is when Merlin built the chapel and quasi-lodged them there.
Quick important question. You said the name out loud, didn't you?
Arthur?
No, the other one.
What, Merlin?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
lightning will physically crack across the sky.
Hey, that wasn't against the rules, OOC.
That's fine. You haven't broken any rules. As I said, a bolt of lightning will crack across the sky. Continue.
Christina will look at that and say, well, that's ominous.
I'm going to go with that's a warning not to get in the habit of using his name, just as I said. So,
Of course. Right. No, definitely not.
moving on.
No. She nods.
So anyway, and no, actually, I don't think he said it, but whatever, we'll go with it. Anyways, point is, so after the prophecy, I asked them a couple more questions, and I guess I must have seemed really, really pathetic, which I have a talent for at times. And, well, let's just say at some point in the near future, I may introduce you to a guy named Gale. He's not here. He's back at my apartment now.
So there's a little bit of a deer in the headlight look.
Yeah, he's really nice.
What? How is he dealing with the time jump?
Well, I warned him. I told him outright to the best way I could teach him to cope with this was to not treat it as if he were going back to his world, but as if he's going into a completely alien world that just happens to have people. Because you can't assume anything is the same as what it was in your lifetime. And I got him some clothes. I'm pretty sure I can get him a false identity at some point. I can probably get something like that at some point. But I left him watching the Weather Channel on a tablet. If we were actually going to go with that.
Yes, do
Okay.
it. She blinks and hang on. You left him watching the Weather Channel.
He's fascinated by it.
Seriously.
It's predicting the weather.
He also likes the Food Network and thinks the microwave is the grand high dispensary of food.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's a thing, yeah. He won't pass that on, though. Be like, how do you say it nicely that Galahad watches the Food Network?
Right?
Anyways.
Like,
so, anyways.
She looks at Archimedes to see if he has any reaction to any of this at all.
Archimedes' general reaction is, I like, what was it? He will contemplate for a moment. You'll actually see him kind of lean back and he'll say, I like gardening shows.
There was, well, like I said, I got him situated for the moment. We're going to have to do some serious covering for him. In my personal opinion, the safest thing to do, I mean, if we were being utterly safe, would be for him to not have come out of there at all. But since he is, he shouldn't be meeting with too many of our people because someone might get smart. And we can't answer any questions. So if they start asking and we don't answer, that's going to make them more curious because you know how people can get about things that we won't talk about. So the best solution is for it to never come up. So he's Gale. I'm halfway thinking of asking him to just speak French and, pretend to have really crappy English. Because he speaks fluent French, though I'm sure to a Frenchman it would sound really obscure dialect. But that would be less suspicious. I know that may sound crazy, but the goal is to try to get him in as little notice as possible. But if people suspect or start asking questions, I don't think it would be right to ask Galahad to lie under the circumstances, but there's no obligation on us to not lie to protect him in this. We should probably have a story straight. Does that make sense?
She nods.
Now, I'm not an expert in this, but how to phrase this? Couldn't it if they think he's what he is, couldn't we just say we met him somewhere way off and like elsewhere? Like just on a journey, like you took me on a trip or something.
Okay. She nods.
Like we don't have to get. Ideally, this will never come up at all. I don't plan on, taking him out to meet all the folks or anything like that, because that would just be, with some of the people out there right now, that would be suicidal. Also, his moral compass could quite easily draw him into conflict.
He was originally known as Galahad the Good, the most pure-hearted of all the Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
basically,
Christina knows.
in D&D terms, this guy's a paladin trying to live in our modern corrupt world. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't told him what I do for a living. I'm kind of not wanting to now. It makes me feel a little bad. But,
Nonsense, I'm sure so many people work for the Japanese mafia. Continue.
I'm white-collar crime, at least. Anyways.
Anyway, I'm going to have to step out because I'm dying in my chair.
No problem, dude.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye. I think we're about done anyway. Bye.
Bye.
Well, actually, do you have to go immediately, or?
No, I still have a little time.
Okay, because I was gonna say, while we've got the scene open and stuff, now that because I think that's about everything he had to say about that. But since we actually have two people in the same scene, he's probably going to, like, once that topic diminishes, he wants to talk a little bit about hey, so we should probably talk about maybe finding some other people like us, getting a location. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? I mean, I know some decently trustworthy people I've met so far, and if we could find something that we all have in common, like say spirit magic or something, that would be something. I know off the top of my head, there's that one Aetheryte, Alan Lockhart. I think you'd get along with him. I think you've met him at one point.
Briefly, I think.
And other than him, I'm not honestly sure, but even 2 or 3 people would be a start. And finding if we're going to try and do something together, we should probably try and find a place to call our own, because we can't bring anyone else here. So this can be a place for you and I to hide or something if we had to, but we can't bring people here, so that's not helpful to anyone else. And we can't tell them about it either. But perhaps at some point in the near future, we could cooperate and try to find a node. From what I've been told, they're pretty useful. And I'm sure there's got to be at least one in the city that's, if not unguarded, guarded weakly enough that we could claim it.
It's definitely worth looking into, for sure.
All right. With that in mind, see, that's pretty much, that was literally it, was just him approaching and just saying, hey, so think about it. Is there anything else we need to cover, or do you want to call the scene here?
Let's see if I can think of anything. I don't think so.
Okay, so assume they
she's yeah. They just assume that they just kind of keep chit-chatting, and Christina is trying to process everything that Finley has told her, and realizing who Archimedes really is, and yeah,
exactly.
So.
And by the way, once I actually get a copy, because Evan's going to transcribe me a copy of the prophecy, because I can't fucking remember it. I have to go back and listen to it in the posted scene. You will get a copy of it also, because he'll repeat it for you. But yeah. Anyways, with that in mind, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll end the scene here.